Motorcycle racing early in the year can mean unpredictable weather, and here at Oulton Park it's just about as unpredictable as it can get. We're here for rounds 3 and 4 of the Motorcycle News British Superbike Championship, which saw Chris Walker in blistering form at Brands Hatch for the season opener. Last year's number 2 Walker has switched from Yamaha to Kawasaki for the 1998 season, and if his cheeky grin is anything to go by, he's more than pleased with the result. The flying red Ducati of Brands Hatch regular Sean Emmett was always going to be a threat, and he was optimistic of his chances. Sure enough, he was the big worry for Chris Walker in race 1, but towards the end of the race, the Kawasaki kid crept by. Where was Neil Mackenzie, you might well ask? Well, he and teammate Hislop bounced back from a poor first race to give a textbook display of team formation riding in race 2. Hislop has found a new lease of life, and it'll be interesting to see if this reverence for Mackenzie will continue. Both 36 years of age, both from Scotland in the twilight of their careers, both riding as well as ever. But after Brands, it was high flyer Chris Walker who leads the championship.
If it remains wet, I mean, Michael Rutter's always a favourite in the wet. He's got his amphibious RC45, which always seems to work quite well when it rains. And both Hizzy and Neil were flying here on Friday in the wet. I think Neil was fastest when it was really wet. But, so, I mean, it's going to be really close. There's always a lot of guys that suddenly come to the front when it's rainy. So, but I don't know what James Hayden rides like in the wet. He's awesome in the dry, so we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to win a race. The main thing is, you know, the championship's very important, and the Yamahas have been going very good this weekend. But, you know, I'm just determined to get a good start, and I know if I can get a good start, I can hang in there, and then wait and see what happens in the last few laps. But yeah, I mean, you never know.
But it was Steve Hislop on pole position, just over a second inside Mackenzie's lap record. Was he optimistic about his chances?
I'm just a bit disappointed the weather's changed. I mean, it's been such a nice weekend test-wise so far. This rain this morning spoiled the outlook of things, but hopefully it'll maybe clear. We might get a dry race yet.
You're not renowned to be one of the best riders in the rain, but this year, is that going to change as well?
Well, I lost a lot of confidence a couple of years ago, and it was just a one event really, you know, my head went, but I'm slowly getting my confidence back, and we tested here a couple of weeks ago, and it was real heavy rain, and I was going as quick as the other guys, so I think it's coming back.
And who's going to be your main competition today?
Well, if it stays wet, it's going to be the usual wet weather men like Sir Michael Rutter, Chris Walker. I think if it's dry, there's only me and Neil in that same level at the moment by the looks of the times. So either way, it's going to be hard.
Unfortunately, Sean Emmett sustained a broken arm during a recent World Superbike Championship event.
Yes, I mean, things were going well, and it's the first crash I've had this year, so obviously feel a bit upset to, you know, not really got away with it, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Well, we've got a replacement for you in the Red Bull Ducati team in Matt Llewellyn. What advice have you got for Matt?
Let your tyres warm up.
Good advice, Sean.
Matt, a great opportunity for you to put yourself back in front of the major Superbike teams.
Yeah, for sure, Roger. I mean, I feel real sorry for Sean, who, you know, is going very well. Obviously, I'm a racer myself. I've been in a similar situation. It's just such a good opportunity for me, you know, to get back on a Superbike and be in the shop window, really.
Not just back on a Superbike, but back on the Ducati he loves. But it's Hislop on pole position, Mackenzie and Walker. So the two Yamahas, Kawasaki and Hayden's on the front row. There's Matt Llewellyn, a brilliant second row qualifying. Michael Rutter, the wet weather specialist. Terry Reimer's on row 2. Row 3, Ian McPherson not going at all well. Simpson, Robinson and poor, injured John Reynolds. And now the 4th row, privateers. Veteran Ray Stringer, the quickest of the bunch. Hislop furthest away from the camera. Look at the wet weather and a flying start by Walker. Number 2, the Kawasaki rider got the drop as they go down to Old Hall. That must be desperate stuff. The riders also have to contend with visors misting up. It's not enough for the circuit to be wet. They mist up inside the visors. There's spray coming back. These conditions are just about as bad as they can be. They have 15 laps, 41.5 miles. They're all tiptoeing round, but Walker already stretching out the advantage. He's being followed by a Honda. That looks like Ian Simpson. The yellow crash helmet of Ian Simpson, the number 22 Honda. Isle of Man TT winner himself, Ian Simpson, and somewhere in there is number 11, Steve Hislop, the pole position man. Round they go, pussyfooting. Roger Burnett sitting alongside of me. He's been here in these conditions. No fun, is it, Roger?
Well, most of the riders don't like wet weather conditions, but some are particularly good, and Michael Rutter's one of those riders, and the leader there on bike number 2, Chris Walker, is another. Chris Walker can adapt himself to any conditions. He's got the Kawasaki there. Watch for the wheel spinner. There it goes as they come out of that tight chicane and over the hilltop, now down to one of the fastest parts of the course, Knickerbrook. If you see smoke coming out of the bikes, or what appears to be smoke, it's probably steam, because these machines are running at such high temperatures that the water evaporates from them. Up after Clay Hill here, and you can see the rain lashing down. This is into Druids Corner. This in the dry conditions would be 90 miles an hour approximately, third gear, and you'll notice that in these wet, difficult conditions, the riders can't lean the bikes over so far.
Desperate stuff, but it's Chris Walker, number 2 on the Kawasaki. Behind him, 22, Ian Simpson. Through into third goes number 3, Michael Rutter. Then it's the veteran, Terry Reimer. We would expect people as experienced as Reimer, the number 7 Suzuki rider, to go well in these conditions. He is a world endurance specialist. The 2 Honda men, 22 and 3, Simpson and Rutter respectively, scrapping it out. But it's the green Kawasaki of Walker leading. They are on treaded tyres, obviously, and the Australian, the yellow Ducati, Troy Bayliss, a big twitch there, the number 32 Ducati. Second place still, Simpson. He's having a good ride. He picked up points at Brands. First full season on this bike for Ian Simpson. Is he going to adapt to it? We shall see. He's also, both of these men are riding side by side here, but they're also riding these bikes in the Northwest 200 and the Isle of Man TT. Those are true road races, so Oulton Park should hold no fears for Michael Rutter. There are good runoff areas, and my goodness me, they need them. Knee on the tarmac, even in these conditions round the bank shell hairpin, as they go down away towards the Fulston chicane. They'll throw it left and right. Let's watch the progress of Michael Rutter. He is a renowned wet weather specialist. He's the number 3 bike. That is Ian Simpson we're looking at. And a wheelie as they come over the top of the hill from Rutter. He's got his head down, Roger, and my bet is that he's going to catch Walker, but Walker's looking good.
Well, concentration is something that's vitally important during the wet weather. You have to ride the bike with a lot of sensitivity and feel for it. And erratic moves are something that doesn't really go down too well. Now, that may well be where Chris Walker has his downfall, because he rides the bike very erratically. He likes to slide the bike in and out of corners, whereas Michael Rutter likes to keep the thing all in line.
Look at the difference in style as well. The knee right out at right angles from race leader Chris Walker. Michael Rutter, by contrast, tucked in behind the fairing in something of the tradition of the older style road racing motorcyclists, when they used not to climb all over the bike. Terry Reimer, number 7 on the Suzuki. Catching now, closing down the back end of the Scotsman, Ian Simpson, number 22. In 5th place, it's number 32, Troy Bayliss on the GSE Ducati. Looking forward, unbelievably bad conditions from Walker. You can see what he's up against here. There's Rutter on the inside, side by side. The Honda has gone past the Kawasaki. And if Walker's screen is like that, you can bet his visor's like it as well, Roger. Desperate.
Well, you can see the concentration on their faces there. Michael Rutter now is ahead of Chris Walker, and Chris Walker would be well advised to try and follow Michael, because Michael is obviously on a roll. He's probably setting the fastest laps of the race at this stage. We're very early in the race, though, still, and it's a long way to go. And what Chris Walker has to do is keep his eye on his pit board and make sure that nobody's catching him from behind.
It's also very wet. You can see there's not really a dry line to speak of. The rain is still falling heavily here, and that RC45 Honda, the number 3 bike in the hands of Michael Rutter, looks oh so stable. Could be the Starbridge rider's control. He is so good in the wet. He won at Brands last season in the wet. He was 3rd in the World Superbike round at Brands Hatch in the wet. A replay here talking of Brands Hatch. Privateer winner at Brands, Peter Graves, too much front brake going into Lodge, and he is out of today's proceedings at Oulton Park. Meanwhile, Rutter cleared off in front, but there was a battle going on for second place. Terry Reimer got the better of Chris Walker, who splashed his way literally round, almost coming to grief into the tyre wall, but somehow miraculously hanging on to the Kawasaki. Rutter demonstrated his superb wet weather technique, picking out a dry line if there was one to be found, and led the race home by a commanding lead at the flag. It was very much Michael Rutter's day, race 1 at Oulton Park. Nobody could get near the RC45 man as he went down under the bridge and over the hill, a wheelie coming up towards Lodge for the last time. Michael Rutter collected the honours just as the sun came through the clouds, and the crowd celebrating what is a superb victory for Honda here at Oulton Park early in the 1998 season. Terry Reimer got the better of Chris Walker. Walker got third, but no mistaking the winner. Everybody bows to Michael Rutter when the clouds open up and the rain comes down. Reimer looking over his shoulder just to see how far behind Mackenzie was, and he was fourth. Rutter, Reimer, Walker, Mackenzie. James Hayden came home in fifth, 2 Suzukis in the top 5, a good solid ride by Bayliss in 7th, and substitute Llewellyn was 8th.
Michael, absolutely fantastic result. You're just so good in the rain.
Well, I just enjoy it really, Roger. It's one thing my dad was always good at, riding in the rain, and I just enjoy it. You know, I've been brought up with it, I think.
It's great for the championship that you and Honda have managed to get a win. How does that place you now?
Well, I'm not sure in the points, but I mean, it's a good win for Honda. You know, we needed it. We had a bit of a bad result at Brands, and finally it's coming together. I know it's wet, but, you know, hopefully we drive for the next race and do the same again.
Chris Walker's third place means he still leads the championship, but Mackenzie's there in second. Reimer did himself a power of good, and Rutter is now on the table in a big way. Hislop in 5th, James Hayden there very solid. Bayliss and Emmett joint 7th, but Emmett sadly will drop away because he is injured, and frankly we don't know when he's going to be back. But celebrations for Michael Rutter and Honda as we look at the privateers result. Brett Sampson won that from Nigel Nottingham, and a one-off ride from Ray Stringer resulted in 3rd place in atrocious